Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into a topic that might just change the way you see yourself and others' trauma responses. We often think of trauma as something big and obvious, but the truth is, it can manifest in our everyday lives in subtle ways. These are things that are actually trauma responses, but we often normalize them without realizing. By understanding these responses, we can start to heal and create a more peaceful and fulfilling life. So, let's unravel these hidden signs together. Do you find yourself constantly saying "I'm sorry" even when you've done nothing wrong? You bump into someone on the street, "Oh, I'm so sorry." You ask a coworker for a favor, "I'm so sorry to bother you." This constant need to apologize, even for the smallest things, can be a sign of a deeper issue: the fear of conflict. People who have experienced trauma, especially in childhood, may have learned that keeping the peace, even at their own expense, was the safest way to navigate their environment. Over time, this pattern of excessive apology becomes ingrained, a reflex to avoid potential conflict or disapproval. Let's talk about boundaries, or rather, the lack thereof. Do you find it incredibly difficult to say no to requests, even when you're already stretched thin? Do you agree to things you really don't want to do, just to avoid disappointing someone? This inability to set healthy boundaries often stems from a deep-seated fear of rejection. Individuals who have experienced emotional neglect or abandonment may develop a belief system where their worthiness is contingent upon pleasing others. They equate saying yes with being loved and accepted, while saying no triggers a primal fear of being abandoned or deemed unworthy. Are you constantly replaying conversations in your head, analyzing every word and action, wondering if you said or did the right thing? Do you find yourself stuck in a loop, going over every detail, trying to figure out if you could have done something differently? This constant mental replay can be exhausting and overwhelming. It's like your mind is a never-ending movie reel, playing scenes over and over again. You might even start to doubt your own memories, questioning if things happened the way you remember them. Do you overthink even the smallest decisions, paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake? Simple choices like what to wear or what to eat can become monumental tasks. The fear of choosing wrong can be so intense that it feels safer to not choose at all. This tendency to overthink is often a coping mechanism for dealing with past trauma. When we've experienced situations where we felt out of control or unsafe, our minds may go into overdrive, trying to anticipate every possible outcome to avoid repeating those painful experiences. It's like our minds are trying to protect us by creating worst-case scenarios, but in reality, this overthinking keeps us trapped in a cycle of anxiety and fear. The more we try to control every aspect of our lives, the more we feel out of control. Overthinking can also lead to physical symptoms, such as headaches, muscle tension, and fatigue. The constant state of alertness can wear down our bodies, making it difficult to relax and enjoy the present moment. It's important to recognize that overthinking is a response to trauma and not a reflection of your worth or abilities. By understanding the root cause, we can begin to develop healthier coping mechanisms and break free from the cycle of overthinking. Seeking support from a therapist or counselor can be incredibly beneficial. They can help you process past traumas and teach you strategies to manage overthinking. Mindfulness practices such as meditation and deep breathing exercises can also help calm the mind and reduce anxiety. Remember, healing is a journey, and it's okay to take it one step at a time. Be patient with yourself and celebrate small victories along the way. You have the strength to overcome overthinking and live a more peaceful, fulfilling life. By addressing the underlying trauma and learning new ways to cope, you can break free from the cycle of overthinking and reclaim your sense of control and peace. We all need our alone time, but for some, isolation becomes a way of life. It's not just about enjoying solitude, it's about feeling safer when we're alone. This can be a coping mechanism, a way to shield ourselves from potential hurt. Do you find yourself withdrawing from social interactions, avoiding gatherings, and preferring your own company even when you feel lonely? This isn't just shyness or introversion, it's a deeper, more pervasive sense of fear and mistrust. This tendency to isolate can be a direct response to past trauma, particularly if that trauma involved relationships. Memories of betrayal, rejection, or emotional pain can make us wary of opening up to others again. When we've been hurt or let down by others, it's natural to build walls to protect ourselves. These walls can feel like a sanctuary, a place where no one can reach us to cause more pain. We may start to see the world as an unsafe place and relationships as potential sources of pain. This perspective can make us hypervigilant, always on the lookout for threats, and reluctant to trust anyone. This isolation, while seemingly protective, can actually perpetuate feelings of loneliness and disconnect us from the support and connection we need to heal. It's a paradox where the very act of trying to protect ourselves ends up causing more harm. Reaching out, even when it's difficult, can be the first step towards breaking this cycle and finding the connection we truly need. Being kind and considerate is a wonderful quality, but for some, it becomes an exhausting compulsion. Do you find yourself constantly putting others' needs before your own, even if it means sacrificing your own well-being? This pattern of people-pleasing often stems from a deep-seated fear of abandonment. Individuals who have experienced inconsistent or unreliable caregiving may learn that their worthiness is dependent on their ability to please others. They become chameleons, constantly adapting to the needs and expectations of others in a desperate attempt to secure love and acceptance. Setting boundaries is essential for healthy relationships, but for those who have experienced trauma, it can feel like an insurmountable challenge. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define our personal space, our comfort zones, and our limits. They are crucial for maintaining our mental and emotional well-being. However, for many, especially those with a history of trauma, the act of setting these boundaries can be fraught with anxiety and fear. Do you struggle to assert your needs, allowing others to walk all over you? This is a common issue for many people who have not been taught the importance of self-respect and self-care. When we fail to assert our needs, we often end up feeling resentful and taken advantage of. It's a vicious cycle that can be hard to break. Do you find yourself saying yes when you really want to say no, fearing the consequences of speaking up? This fear can be paralyzing, leading us to agree to things that we don't want to do, just to avoid potential conflict or disapproval. Over time, this can erode our sense of self and make us feel powerless in our own lives. This difficulty with boundaries often stems from a fear of confrontation. Confrontation can be intimidating, especially if we've had negative experiences in the past. The fear of being judged, rejected, or hurt can make it seem easier to just go along with what others want, even if it means compromising our own needs. Individuals who grew up in volatile or abusive environments may have learned that asserting themselves led to conflict or punishment. These early experiences can leave deep scars, making it difficult to feel safe when setting boundaries as adults. The fear of repeating past traumas can be a powerful deterrent. As a result, they may avoid setting boundaries to preserve a sense of safety, even if it means sacrificing their own needs and well-being. This avoidance can lead to a life where one's own desires and needs are constantly put on the back burner, leading to chronic dissatisfaction and unhappiness. Learning to set boundaries is a crucial step in reclaiming one's sense of self and building healthier, more respectful relationships. Chapter 7. The Perfectionism Trap. When striving for excellence masks fear. Striving for excellence is admirable, but when does it cross the line into unhealthy perfectionism? Do you find yourself setting impossibly high standards for yourself, constantly striving for flawlessness, and feeling crushed by even the smallest mistakes? This relentless pursuit of perfection often masks a deep-seated fear of criticism or failure. For those who have experienced trauma, particularly if it involved harsh criticism or conditional love, achieving perfection can feel like the only way to gain approval and avoid judgment. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship, but for those who have experienced betrayal, it can feel like an impossible feat. Do you find it difficult to let people in, constantly questioning their motives and expecting the worst? This difficulty trusting others is a common trauma response, especially if you've been hurt or let down by someone you loved or depended on. Betrayal can shatter our sense of safety and make it incredibly challenging to open ourselves up to vulnerability again. We all have things we'd rather not do, but for some, avoidance becomes a way of life. Do you find yourself steering clear of certain places, people, or situations that trigger uncomfortable memories or emotions? This avoidance, while seemingly protective, can actually keep us trapped in a cycle of fear and prevent us from fully engaging in life. When we avoid things that trigger us, we deny ourselves the opportunity to process those emotions and develop healthier coping mechanisms. Celebrating our accomplishments is a natural part of life, but for some it can feel incredibly uncomfortable. Do you find yourself downplaying your successes, deflecting compliments, and minimizing your achievements? This tendency to downplay our accomplishments often stems from a fear of standing out or attracting unwanted attention. For those who have experienced trauma, particularly if it involved being targeted or ostracized, staying invisible can feel like the safest way to navigate the world. Thanks for watching. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Remember, understanding these trauma responses is the first step towards healing. It's important to remember that you are not alone. Many people struggle with these same patterns, and there is hope for healing and growth. By recognizing these responses as echoes of past experiences, we can start to cultivate self-compassion and seek the support we need to move forward.